This episode is sponsored by Divinikey, your one-stop shop for in-stock custom keyboard components with frequent new items, daily restocks, and lightning-fast shipping.
Hello everyone, and welcome to my very first interest check video of 2022. An interest check, or IC for short, is when a vendor or individual gauges community interest in a product to see whether or not it is worth pursuing a group buy. We have so many interest checks every single week, and really not all of them result in tangible products. Some of these are good, and some of these are bad, but regardless, there are some that have caught my attention. These are the 5 that I found the most interesting over the last couple of weeks. Stay tuned till after the break to hear what they are. GMK Ropuro was initially IC'd in April of 2018. However, it didn't reach the group buy stage, hence the creation of a brand new interest check by Zenclack using the EPBT manufacturer. Interesting thing to note here is that this IC is posted the same month, but 3 years later. This one actually is getting some traction, so let's hope for the best. Ropuro is a form of input for Japanese characters using the QWERTY keyboard with Roman letters. This key set has several kits offered. Base kit supporting keyboards up to TKL, katakana only alphas kit, text-based modifiers, JIS layout support, spacebars, 40% support, numpad, ISO UK, and last but not the least, windowed keycaps for in-switch indicator LEDs. You may be thinking, Merlin, isn't this just Dolch with Japanese sublegends? Actually, yes. I totally agree with you on that. It's basically just Weeb Dolch. Couple vendors already tagged here, but no group by date or pricing quite yet. Personally, I'm a fan of Dolch, so I'm excited to see this come to fruition. The Merlin verdict is consider. This is an IC posted by Rational Keys in January, inspired by a typewriter and designed by 3 friends, an architect, a lawyer, and a jeweler. The Rene 65 will be manufactured in their home country of Istanbul, Turkey, and features an 8-degree typing angle, 10-point gasket mount system, daughter board, with hot swap and solderable PCB options. You've even got your choice of plates for brass, aluminum, or even polycarb. 250 to 300 units first come first serve, but no price or vendors or date listed quite yet. I really enjoyed my Saturn 60 when it came out, and this completely reminded me of it. It's got that same chunky vintage aesthetic, but this one definitely looks higher quality. This is going to be another build where you have to use clicky switches, otherwise you completely miss out on the theme. Since this keyboard utilizes the C3 Universal Daughter Board standard, I think it would have been great if they were able to put the USB-C port at a lower point, perhaps even through that center chunk of metal acting as the feet. The Merlin verdict is maybe. From the studio that brought you the Beak 6.5 comes quite a spectacle. This is a 60% keyboard with 6-degree typing angle, top mount mounting, C3 Universal Daughter Board, and it comes packaged with the Wilbotech PCB. But the coolest thing about this keyboard is that it's got these fancy soothing curves on the side profile. The board will sell for $299 and will have roughly 200 units available. First come, first serve, somewhere around June of 2022. You may be looking at these vendors and be thinking, hey Merlin, that's a brass bottom I see there. For $299, this is a steal. I thought so too, but apparently it is only brass colored aluminum. However, Still Studios is considering a limited run where a brass bottom is actually available, so keep an eye out on this interest check. I thought that the Beak 6.5 was a little too out there when it came to design, so I'm glad that they're reining it in a little bit here without completely stifling their aesthetic preferences. The Merlin verdict is consider. IC'd in the beginning of 2022 by Monster Gear, the Sango 65 is the follow-up to their widely successful Sango 60. It's got a 7-degree typing angle, gasket mount, PVD-coated brass weight, and most importantly, in stock. No waiting for group buys to deliver. The Sango 65 also uses the very popular KBD67 Mark II series of PCBs from KBD fans. Personally, I think this is a great decision. Monster Gear has now provided even more chassis for a PCB that is in wide circulation. If you've got a KBD67 Lite and haven't been too happy with its plasticky nature, you may have been considering changing the chassis to the older KBD67 V2, the newer V3, or possibly even the Blade 65. This is your fourth option. At $440, this is a little bit more expensive than the prior three, and honestly, the Blade 65 is probably the closest to it because it's also gasket mount, but the Sango 65 does have those fancy brass weight, a wider bezel, and it looks more like a classic 65. Tune back in at a later date, and I may even have a unit for review and a build on stream. The Mac-Maron verdict is consider. Now this one is a fairly old interest check, but it's one I've been following every now and then. I see it in April of 2021. This is a desk mat with the most commonly used Git commands in the GMK Oblivion colorway. If you don't know what Git is basically a version control system primarily used by software developers to keep track of all their code changes. As a software developer myself, I find that version control is essential to any project, and knowing the commands well can spell the difference between failure and success. And that is why I think this is a must buy. Alright, thanks everyone for tuning in, and I hope you've enjoyed the interest checks that caught my attention this month. Let me know what you think about my selections in the comments down below, and if there's an IC you think I should be following, jot it down there as well. I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye now.